Remember that in the darkness, you are never alone. There is always someone who awaits your fall.
The horror game genre is slowly becoming a mess. Games that focus on cheap jump scares are just flooding Steam and other services, while very few games that are actually scary hit the market. Kholat steps away from the jump scare subgenre and shows us that there is still some hope for the horror game genre. Hello everybody, this is Canadian Penguin, and today I'm back with a video review for the horror game Kholat. If you don't want to hear me talking, a full written review can be found in a link to my website in the description. Before we begin, I'm just going to say sorry in advance for any of the words I say wrong. They're very Russian sounding words as they are derived from Russian, so yeah, just keep that in mind. If I say I'm wrong, I apologize in advance. Kholat is based on the actual event of the Dyatlov Pass incident, and is a fantastic horror story that shows the industry how a horror game is done right. To give a little bit of backstory, the Dyatlov Pass incident is an event that happened in January to late February in 1959, when 10 Russian students went on a hike in the Ural Mountains on the eastern side of Kholat Sakai. After one of the students went back due to illness, the others pushed forward and were never heard from again. So the group went to explore, in hopes to find their whereabouts. The remaining 9 students were all found dead from various and still unexplained reasons. Based off these real-life events, the story of Kholat is one of the best stories I've heard told in the horror game genre. Narrated by the famous Sean Bean, the game's writing, narration, and story are all fantastic. The narration, I will say, is good, but not the best, solely for immersion purposes. Most of the voice actors seem to have British accents, which works well for Sean Bean, but not really for the others. The diary entries are narrated by a British actor playing a Russian student. I would have liked to see these entries narrated by a Russian voice actor, but that's just me being nitpicky. I wouldn't really consider this a con, but I just thought I'd mention it. The sound effects and music fit the game perfectly and create very tense feeling situations. One thing I oddly loved was the sound effect of walking in the snow. As a Canadian, I can say the developers nailed those sound effects right on the head. The atmosphere in the game is also amazing. Wandering in harsh mountains has never been so enjoyable. The mountains and caves are all beautifully designed, and really big kudos to the level designers on this game. The various places of interest all feel distinct and unique in their own way. Keep in mind there's some mild spoilers for this part right here. From burnt and hell-like looking forests to sacrificial altars and abandoned bunkers, these places all hold story significance while providing the tense atmosphere that makes this game true horror.
The human being's mind is a curious toy. Consumed by pain and madness, it resists but defends itself from what can set it free. The path to understanding leads through contradiction. We deny one simple fact, the fact that humans are the real monsters. And as such, we should treat each other. Although I had been deluding myself otherwise for so many years, I have finally figured out my true nature. Remember that in the darkness, you are never alone. There is always someone who awaits your fall.
The gameplay is super simple and only requires your inner explorer. You start off in an abandoned Russian town with no markers, no arrows, no nothing, just your willingness to explore. You'll eventually find your way around, and then the real game begins. You go to a whole new area deep within the Ural Mountains, where you must simply explore with your handy map, compass, and flashlight. Keep in mind this area is completely non-linear and open world. The map has coordinates of all the places of interest, but I found all these places without any real navigation involved. The flashlight I found to be extremely useless, as most areas are lit by the full moon in the sky. I guess if you were playing this game at low brightness to add to the experience, the flashlight would be a very nice touch. The game itself is around 4 to 6 hours long in length, and is filled with many little notes and diaries to collect if you feel like getting more backstory. Lastly, the performance of this game is quite good. I will say though, having to play through the whole game at 30 FPS was quite annoying. Keep in mind the game isn't locked at 30 frames, that's just how much my computer could achieve. I feel as though my processor was bottlenecking my graphics card in this game. I can play the game on medium-high settings and maintain a solid 30 frames per second. This game does require a decent rig. And this game is powered on Unreal Engine 4, and it just looks absolutely amazing. I could easily see this game being used for benchmarking purposes. In most horror games, the horror is caused by cheap jump scares that startle and not really scare. Kholat, on the other hand, uses its interesting backstory, immersion, beautiful yet creepy atmosphere, and fantastic sound to be possibly this year's best horror title. Well, thanks for watching my review, I hope you all liked it, and if you did, make sure to leave me a like, or a comment, I love getting comments, and subscribe for more game reviews in the future, and I will see you all in the next video.